So it's all black and white TV, and I'm joined by Rolly. How are you, Rolly?
I'm good, thanks. Enjoying this World Cup, the World Cup that keeps on giving.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. Yeah. So, guys, this hour it's called Let's Talk NUFC. Basically, we're having a break from the World Cup, and let's talk about things going on domestically. At the moment, the girls are playing as well. So hopefully they get through at the next round of the FA Cup. And I've got a comment already in. Chaz says, "Hi Tony, hope you're well, mate." Yeah, I'm absolutely fine, Chaz. Thank you very much, mate. Hope you're fine as well. And Chaz says, "Hey, Rolly."
Hi,
And
Chaz.
Matty Max says, "Afternoon, Tony and Rolly." Another shock at the World Cup with Belgium. To be fair, do we call it a shock? I'm not so sure because Belgium are a very ancient team now. So
And they were poor against Canada, and they should have lost that one as well.
they should have, yeah. I mean, obviously, we're not going to talk much about the World Cup in this hour because it's all about NUFC, guys. I mean, no problem having your comments in there about the World Cup. But just let you know, at 9:30 p.m. tonight, please join me live. I will be here with a World Cup roundup. So I'll round up all of today's games at 9:30 tonight. So be sure to tune in for that one. But the stuff will go out on social media about that show anyway. And Sefton say, "Hi, Tony and Rolly and chat. Just back from Christmas shopping with Mrs. Sefton." Yeah, it's expensive Christmas shopping, isn't it? Yeah.
Especially with Mrs. Sefton, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, the World Cup keeps throwing up shocks. Right, guys, I'll just play this for you and then be back in one moment. If you like what you see, then please hit the like button as it makes the channel more visible in the search. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as it helps the channel grow and it's free to do. Finally, hit the bell button. That will notify you when I'm live or put a pre-recorded video on and any upcoming shows. Thank you very much. So thank you for that, guys. That just saves me doing it during the show. I've got it recorded now, so I can just stick it on there, and it's the easiest way to do it, I think, as well. So yeah, so the today's program's all about Let's Talk NUFC. Now, we are missing the Premier League at the moment because the World Cup's on at the moment. Also, some news today. I mean, I gather everybody's probably saw this, but Bournemouth have now appointed Gary O'Neill on a full-time basis for an 18-month contract after him being an interim charge. Some ways, I think it's only right. I mean, look where he's took Bournemouth to after Scott Parker lost 9-0 to Liverpool. Bournemouth are sitting 14th in the Premier League. So, to be fair, I think it was only right that he got that job. And well done to Bournemouth for giving them that as well. And I don't wish them luck against us in the Cup, but for the rest of the season, apart from in the playoffs, then yeah, I wish them all the best for the rest of the season. Because they were my tip to go down at the start of the season, but I'm not so sure that could happen now. But who knows?
I've got a feeling all three promoted clubs might actually survive because I think Forest are starting to gel, which they had to. It's going to take them time because they bought so many new players. And they're starting to string one or two results together so that they're only a point away from safety. So they've got a good chance.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, we've got a few topics we're going to speak about, and everybody in the chat get involved as well in this because, it'd be nice to hear everybody's point of view, what they think of the topics that are going to come up. So, without further ado, let's get into the first topic. And the first topic is now going to appear on screen. Have we got Liverpool and Manchester United worried as they are now up for sale? So, guys, the first of all, Liverpool decided that the FSG decided that they were going to put that club up for sale. Well, they sort of said, let's get some investors in first. But then they sort of changed tact and said, well, if it goes and gets sold, then they're happy to sell it on. It's just, is it a coincidence or is it because of how well we've did this season or done so far rather this season? They have now looked at this and thought, hang on a minute, we can't compete here. This is beyond our But you look at them, you think, well, how can't you compete? You've spent £85 million on a striker. So how can you not compete with that? But also, when it went up for sale, we all, all us Newcastle fans thought, hang on a minute, what have we done here? And in a great way, not a bad way, by the way. And now, obviously, we had the news that Ronaldo's contract was cancelled with mutual league agreement. And then within 2 hours of that, out comes about Man United going up for sale. Again, seeing investment or up for sale. I mean, guys, I think they're worried. I think that the so-called Big Six are worried.
Medium six.
We're up there. Yeah, well, we're up there. We're up there because we've played so well this season. That's the thing. I mean, if you'd asked me at the start if we would be up there by the time the World Cup came, I would have said no chance. But the fact that we're up there now shows you that we mean business. And things are only going to get better at our club. I mean, I'll come to you, Rolly, first of all. I mean, first of all, when Liverpool went up for sale, were you shocked at that? Because with the amount of money they've got, and then were you shocked at Manchester United?
I was more shocked at Man United than Liverpool. As I've got some Liverpool friends who are always moaning about the Fenway Sports Group, how they're not putting money in. So it wasn't so much of a surprise. Man United was more because Man United fans hate the Glazers almost as much as we hated Ashley. Well, he should not be named. But I think that them going up for sale, I think it's more complicated than just us. I think they've had a couple of power grabs that failed. They had that Project Big Picture where they wanted to consolidate all the power in the medium six. I'm going to call them the medium six from now on because we're going to be far outstrip them. Then they had the European Super League, which they were really surprised at the backlash they got from their own fans. So they had to pull out of that. And I think the Americans, they're both American owned. In American leagues that have a closed shop, there's no promotion or relegation. And they've seen that, well, we're not going to get a European Super League. We failed with our Project Big Picture. Now we've got to concentrate on getting into the Champions League. 6 into 4 doesn't go. 7 goes even less. And when the 7th one that's joining the party has got more wealth, access to more wealth than pretty much the rest of the entire football world combined, they're worried. I mean, Newcastle's owners are worth more than the next 10 richest club combined. And they're worried because, as you've seen this season, they've not started off well. And they've got a catch-up job to get in the top 4. We are well ahead of schedule with the project. I must admit, my guess for the season that we'd finish sort of like 7th or 8th with a decent cup run, hopefully winning one. But I wasn't expecting more than that to be sitting in 3rd. It's sort of like I keep pinching myself. I told one of my friends I've got a nosebleed. He says, I should go and see the doctor. Oh, it's okay. I'm not used to being this high in the league.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it ironic, though, that the 2 clubs that have gone up for sale, by the way, the 2 clubs, Liverpool and Manchester United, the owners, they were the 2 instigators who founded the failed ESL, European Super League, because the Juventus chairman came out and said that. He said, when that failed, he said, we did not start this, by the way. He says, this was all started by Liverpool and Manchester United. Their owners set this league up and got everybody else bankrolled into it.
Yeah,
Like they got Florentino Perez in because they knew they said the reason they wanted him involved was to help Real Madrid out with money-wise because they had a bit of problems, the same as Barcelona. And that is why it was all started. So they invited everybody else on board, but then didn't realise the reaction they were going to get off the fans off it, the backlash. And we don't condone vandalism or anything. And I mean, Man United fans, I think, went way overboard, breaking into the club, breaking into the changing rooms, smashing things up. I mean, I think that was just totally unjust and disgraceful. There's other ways to protest other than going in and causing criminal damage.
Yeah.
And if you think it's clever causing criminal damage, believe me, criminal damage, it's not clever because you're damaging somebody else's property, whether they've got money or not. And I mean, so you look at that and you think, it is ironic that it just happens to be the Glazers and John Henry of Liverpool who are now selling up, probably because they've put a lot of money into that Super League and they've probably lost a lot of it because they brought JP Morgan in as well, the bankers, to help bankroll this Super League. And because it hasn't took off anywhere, whatever they've paid JP Morgan, they've had to pay them, and probably thinking, do you know what, we need to cut our losses and go. Plus, the fact that we have now charged in and we are sitting third in the Premier League table at this moment while this World Cup is on. So I think overall, the Glazers and I think the Man United fans will be really happy that the Glazers are going. They'll probably think the sooner the better. I mean, that club's still £660 million in debt. And that's the £660 million the Glazers took out as a loan to buy the club 17 years ago, back in 2005. So to think that that debt's still there existing, you just look and think, well, how have they paid any of this off towards the bank that they've loaned it from? So it's really interesting that that money is still outstanding. So whoever buys a club's got to pay all the debt off. But I think once it's bought, but they'll still not be anywhere near where we are at the moment. But they are rattled. And I've just gone into a couple of comments from Sefton, and he says, Liverpool £277 million transfer spend. Truth confirmed as FSG approach laid bare bid. Yeah, totally agree with you on that one. He says, I think with our takeover, it has top six rattled. Yes, but worried? Hell yes, absolutely, Sefton. They are very worried, mate, indeed. And he also says, remember, it's still going to take us years to recover from Ashley years. Yeah, you're totally right, Sefton. I mean, you've got to look at the playing squad first of all. Look how depleted that was when Eddie Howe come in. Look how many players we still had there, and we still got there now from the 2016 Championship season. We still got a core of that team still there. Lascelles is still there, Richie's still there, and other players. So when you think of it, how many players are still there from that Championship season? Because Ashley never invested much in the squad, and that is a problem. But not just the squad, but the stadium as well. The stadium went to rack and room, the training facilities. Thankfully, we've got rid of the wheelie bins now, so players don't have to have an ice bath in a wheelie bin. So things are looking up now with our new owners because they know exactly what they want to do with our club. I mean, Rolly, give me your thoughts on what I've just said there. Well, I've got to just plug my charger in, mate, okay, for my laptop, or else I don't want that going off mid.
I'll talk to you.
I can still hear you.
I think that they are rattled. They didn't expect us to improve this much so quickly. And we're sitting in third at the moment. They really don't know or can't see a way that they can actually dislodge us from the top four. So they're rattled. A lot of their finances come through the Champions League. It's just they really can't see how they're going to dislodge us from third or from the top four. Because as a project, we're well ahead of schedule. I wasn't expecting to be challenging for the top four till sort of like next season at the earliest. I was looking for hopefully getting a Europa Conference spot.
Yeah.
And if it turns out this season that we end up in a Europa Conference spot, I'll be happy because that's what I was expecting. A little bit disappointed because of where we are now. But the problem everyone else has got is that once we get on a roll, like we did at the end of last season, it's very hard to stop us. We had that big unbeaten run when they came back from Saudi last time. And I think our first defeat was a last-minute winner at Chelsea by that little Git Havertz after he elbowed Big Dan Burn and should have been sent off.
Yeah.
But it was, apart from the Man City and the Tottenham games, the only defeats we had were lucky. The Liverpool one, they were lucky to win that one, and Chelsea were lucky to win as well. Well, we got thumped by Man City and Tottenham. But you look at us now, defensively, we're so much stronger. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We get 2-0 up, it's pretty much game over because you can't see anyone scoring 2 goals, let alone 3 against us at the minute. So they are worried, and they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Leslie says, afternoon, Tony and Rolly. Afternoon to you, Leslie. Afternoon all. And Sefton saying hi to Leslie. And Native Knee Gaming. Good afternoon to you, mate. They don't have the financial clout that we now have, hence why they're trying to sell. Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, I said this a long while ago, we are frightening them. That's the thing. We are frightening them. And I always said this juggernaut will start slowly, but it'll pick up pace. And when it gets to full speed, it will just absolutely demolish this so-called Big Six. And we will be riding in and taking the trophies off them as well. So it just shows you how much this club's come on since last season, since the owners came in. And we can see the different things that's been done to the club. I'm sick of people like you get the likes of Graham Souness, who keeps saying, oh, well, the Saudis should never have bought Newcastle and all that. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Souness. At the end of the day, the Saudis got it because they proved one thing, and that was separation. Separation was proved. Also, it might be total convenience, but when that compensation was sent to beIN Sport, and it was in that horrible weather, that rainy weather, and we lost 2-1 that day when Huang scored both goals for Wolves. We were devastated. We were depressed. Steve Bruce was at the helm. We still had Mike Ashley at the club. We just thought, where's this club going? We were looking to an arbitration hearing in the January because we were still waiting for clarification from CAT to see when there was going to be a hearing. But at the time, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know that the club were actually in advanced talks with the Saudis on the Saturday and with the Premier League with Richard Masters to sort this out. And then we sort of started getting some drip feed through from the Tuesday and then more at the Wednesday that, this takeover is going to go ahead, probably Thursday. And what happened? Thursday came, takeover went through. So everybody was happy. But like I say, you just look at that dull minute when we were back at Wolves and you wouldn't have saw this coming back then. It wasn't until I say midweek till we really found out that this was going ahead. But at the end, but the point I'm making is likes of these people who come out and criticise us, they need to say, well, hang on, the Premier League asked us to prove separation. We've proved it. Done. Dusted. Even the highest court in Saudi Arabia proved the separation. So if the highest court in Saudi Arabia is going to give separation, it's going to prove it, then there's nothing the Premier League can do. And then if it was that they were waiting for some sort of compensation to beIN Sports, then okay, fair enough. But beIN Sports got the compensation. So technically, there was nothing the Premier League could do to stop the takeover. They had no rights whatsoever to stop it. And Nate says, I thought showed them in a good light. Hang on a minute. I've missed a comment off. Sorry. Yeah, hang on. We are right. So Mighty Max says, where can you see us being in 5 years down the lane? We'll come to that one. We'll tell you what I'll do, Mighty. I'll star that question and we'll come back to that one a bit later, mate. Leslie says, yeah, going to see Son in Hong Kong in 2 weeks, so all good. Our son, yeah. Oh, lovely. Nice one. Night and again, the thing is the other clubs are run for profit for the owners. We seem to have someone who wants to improve the club rather than stripping it. And to see the interview with the Saudi prince. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, I thought showed them in a good light, yeah. And they want to change and improve, yeah. Leslie says, sale of these two makes you think they've given up on ASL. That was their cash cow. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
For them to for them to come out and say that and try and bring that out just shows you how much money they've actually threw at this, and it's failed, and it's blown up in their face basically.
So Tony,
And
just like
by the way, karma is a bitch, and it comes back to bite you in the backside, and it's starting to bite a lot of these teams in the backside right now. Sefton says the 2 and 5 years will be league champions, we FA Cup and League Cup and Champions League winners, and I will be retired as well. He says, and yeah, my own son, not HM's son. No, that's fine, Leslie. No worries. That was me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And I hope the weather's fantastic out there too. Yeah,
So
sorry,
just like
Rory. Yeah.
say about Souness saying that the Saudis should never have been allowed anywhere near the club, which is utter nonsense, because whilst the government is selling arms to Saudi Arabia and promoting trade with Saudi Arabia, they've got every right to buy the club. If they do something and then we start putting sanctions on Saudi Arabia, that's the time when the ownership of buying Saudi comes into question. It's got nothing, just because you don't like the fact that we're going to overtake Liverpool, almost have overtaken Liverpool, and keep them out for winning stuff for a long time. And the team that has least to fear from us is Manchester City, not because they've got more money than us, is that they have already reached the place where they can let the likes of Sterling go and replace them with Haaland, and they've got such a strong squad, they'll be competitive with us going forward, because we're still way behind them in squad strength. But the others in Chelsea, that owner thinks he's playing fantasy football. He's paying silly money for players, and
yeah,
he's from right. They sacked Tuchel. He's brought in Potter. Potter's still getting used to the players and trying to get them to play his way. If reports are to be believed, Bowley's trying to buy players that Potter doesn't want, which is always a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, if you want to hit the likes, that'd be absolutely fantastic. I'll just play this. If you like what you see, then please hit the like button, as it makes the channel more visible in the search. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, as it helps the channel grow and it's free to do. Finally, hit the bell button. That will notify you when I'm live or put a pre-recorded video on and any upcoming shows. Thank you very much. Yeah, so guys, please hit those likes and subscribes. Absolutely great. Thank you very much. I mean, obviously Nate's come out with a comment here. He says, I counter that point, and Souness shouldn't be allowed near football, especially after his sexist views on the women's game. Yeah, how he's even allowed near football is beyond me. I mean, it's just absolutely disgraceful, really. He should have been sacked from it, really. Even ITV shouldn't be entertaining him. Leslie says, be interesting what Klopp does if Middle Eastern money is pumped into Liverpool. Yeah, because he doesn't like Middle Eastern owners, does he? So I wonder if he'll be gone. That'll be interesting. Night in the game, he's a dinosaur who should have been wiped out by that meteor strike. I think he means Souness, and yeah, I can't stand the guy. I can't stand the guy. He ripped our team to bits after Bobby Robson and should never have been anywhere near the club. Sefton says 100% agree. And Sefton says, don't forget I'm live next Sunday. Tony. Yeah, absolutely, Sefton. I think I'm going to go for about 1 p.m. I think, Sefton, on that one. Because should England win the group, they play at 7 p.m. on the Sunday night. I hope they do win the group, because if they play next Saturday, I'm stuffed because I won't see it because I'm out. So yeah, so I hopefully they'll get through, they'll win the group, and they'll play next Sunday night at 7. So yeah, it's going to be about 1 p.m. Sefton, and Sefton's going to come on. He's going to chat about the website, and he's also going to chat about his life as a Newcastle United fan, like we all are. I mean, we've been through the rough and the smooth with it. You know, I remember the 80s and when we were a really, really big selling club in the 80s. You know, we sold some great talent out of this club. Gascoigne, 2 million. We sold Beardsley for 1.9 million to Liverpool. We got rid of Waddle off to Spurs as well. Yeah, so we sold some great talent in that era as well. And then obviously we bought some dross as well, and you know, so yeah, and it was a depressing era, wasn't it? The 80s until Keegan come through that door, and then we got rid of the likes of Ozzy Ardiles and things like that. And yeah, you try to. I mean, Ozzy Ardiles had the right idea. He tried to play with youngsters, but the time didn't work, and it was just sending the team down the wrong trajectory. Right. So the next subject we're going to come to now is, so we've covered that now, I think, in great detail, and so the next one is how much business will we do in the January transfer window. So in the January window, how much business will we do? Well, if reports are led to believe, PIF want to go big in January apparently because they're sensing an opportunity here, and this is not what I've heard from them directly or anything like that. It hasn't been. It's just what you see in written media. So sometimes you take it with a pinch of salt. I do sometimes, but we'll see what happens come January. Might just be the media whipping up the agents to get them some sales for their players. So according to media reports, PIF want to pump a shed load of money in January to get players in because they sense an opportunity. We're sitting top 3 at the moment. They know we're 7 points off the title, and they want to keep us up in that Champions League spot, and they want us to push as hard as we can till the end of the season. Now, what you got to remember is Saudis like success. They're not liking failures. So if PIF are wanting to go out and hit us with a bang and get players in, then do you know what? I'd say, yeah, brilliant. Let's see what they say. I would say let's get 3 signings in at least, if I'm honest. I think three would be maximum enough to come in. I would like to see this guy come in, James Maddison. I think he's got to be first on the list, surely, to come in. I think he's a terrific midfielder, creative midfielder, and one that I would certainly say yes, please to. Also, could we see one of these two come in, because he's both playing the same midfield role, so it would have to be either one or two of these. So my first option would probably be Edson Alvarez, the Mexican at Ajax. I think he's a terrific player, terrific defensive midfielder. That would push Bruno even further up the pitch. This guy is a heck of a player, and he didn't get on for Mexico yesterday, but I tell you what a player this guy is as well. Finally, this guy as well, he's a defensive midfielder, Manu Corny, plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's worth about 25-30 million pounds. 21-year-old Frenchman, terrific defensive midfielder, has an eye for a long pass as well, but pretty good with his short passing range. Another defensive midfielder, as I say, he's 21, so he's got room to grow. And can you imagine him with Eddie Howe? How Eddie Howe would have him going? I saw this guy play against Leipzig last season in the Bundesliga, and he was man of the match, and he ran that show. Leipzig didn't have an answer to this guy, put it that way. And that's frightening to think this guy's not even 22 till next year. So that's a couple of players there anyway. And if we are going to get rid of Lascelles in January and bring in another centre-half, then this guy, Benoit Badiashile, I would take him at a heartbeat. I think he's out of contract. I think he's got about 18 months left on his deal. This is a guy I would love to see come in the club. And I think he'd be the long-term successor for Fabian Schär. And then he would take over that mantle and form a great partnership with Sven Botman as well, because they're both young and they'll both grow together, because he's only 21, by the way. So, Rolly, thoughts on January window, mate?
It's a difficult one, because I think they'll want to go for at least 2 signings, possibly 3. But they're very process driven. And it has to be the right player with the right personality, the right fit for the team at the right price. So you've got the possibility that we could sign 3 players, but also bearing that in mind, we might not sign anyone because the deals have to be right. Because our owners aren't just going to throw money away. They've proved that. They'll have the targets lined out. It's a case of whether they can get the deals done. Like you, I like James Maddison. I think he'd be superb. I also like Kone. Again, I'd love to have him. The other guy I'd really like is Musa Diaby. And the good thing about Kone and Diaby is they've not gone to the World Cup, so the prices won't go up. If we move Lascelles on, then Benoit Badiashile. But if we don't move Lascelles on, I think we'll probably try and get him in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another report going around. Apparently, PIF are willing to meet the asking price for this guy, Kylo Mudryk.
Yeah.
But Shakhtar Donetsk want £87 million for this guy. Is he worth £87 million? Not in my eyes. He hasn't done enough yet to justify that sort of price tag. I would say 50 million, maybe max, is probably about the right price. Why Shakhtar Donetsk have put such a high price on, I'm not sure. If they think they're going to get bids for that, I don't think they're going to. But again, another guy I would like to see in the team. This would be the type of guy who could push ESM on, because if you look at ESM, if he's got Murphy behind him on the bench and Fraser, he's going to look at that bench and think, well, it doesn't matter if I don't really play too great, I'll still get in the team. But I think if you've got somebody behind ESM who's of either similar quality or better quality than what ESM is, and that guy, he's keeping him on the bench, ESM's got to think to himself, right, to keep that guy on the bench, I've got to play worldies week in, week out, because if I don't, that guy will get in and I won't get off that bench. And that's how we've got to be. We've got to start having competition in every department of that team, like Man City do. You drop 1 week, you're out. The next guy comes in and he gets the chance to keep the shirt. Yeah.
I mean, with Modric, I don't know how true it is, but I saw a report today that Shakhtar Donetsk have reduced their asking price to about 40 plus add-ons. Now, if that is the case, you've got a free hat in the ring. There is talk that he wants to go to Arsenal, but I don't know until the transfer window opens and he signs. You don't know how true that is, and whether Arsenal would move for him in January anyway. You don't know, but yeah, I mean, we've got to be in a situation like we are at left back. That Matt Targett, who's playing well, gets ill. Dan Burn is shuffled over to left back, and Targett can't get back into the team. So you're not going to want to get injured. Yeah. You're not going to want to get ill. You're not going to want to play badly, because once you're out of the starting 11, we want it to be very hard for them to get back into the starting 11. That's a bit like Manchester. That's where Manchester City are at. They can change 5 or 6 players without dropping the standard of the players on the starting 11. That's what we're building towards.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's just funny how what players we can get in January, and it's just who's available. And because January, as we know, is a very hard window to get players in. But if they've reduced their asking rate, then that's even better again, because that way it's going to be more realistic for him to actually leave the club as well. Because if you've put an £87 million target on his head, or bid price tag on his head, nobody's going to really pay £87 million. He's not worth it yet, is he?
Not just that, there are only a handful of clubs that can afford to pay that much. You've got us, you've got PSG. I would have said Barcelona, but they're in Barcelona and Real Madrid are in financial trouble. Man United could probably shell out that much. Chelsea could. Arsenal could, but that would probably blow their entire transfer budget. So you're talking maybe half a dozen clubs in the world that could afford to pay that fee. And if he doesn't want to go to them, they're stuck with a player because that may want to leave but doesn't want to go where you want to sell him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of them. We just got to wait and see what the January transfer window throws open for us. But I see what you mean. It's a strange one, and I don't really like the January window because you might not always get the players that you want to get in, if you know what I mean. So it's one of those, isn't it?
You find that a lot of the medium six do only a little bit of business in January because it's a difficult market. It's like Bruno. We went out and got him in January because even if we stayed up, we knew we weren't getting European football. The likes of Arsenal, Real Madrid, and that would come in the summer because a lot of people, they start, they do the scouting, and then if someone becomes available in January, if the price is right, they'll go for it. But if they think that no one's interested, they'd rather do most of their business in the summer, mainly because you've got a longer transfer window and it tends to be easier to do deals. They only tend to do business in January if there's a deal that they wanted to do in the summer suddenly becomes available in January at a price they want to pay. And they haven't got the time to negotiate and follow the process through in the summer. Because January, you get a month. In the summer, you've got from July till September. So you've got a lot of time to work on these deals and the fine structure of them because they're not always straightforward deals, especially when you're doing in installments. And then you've got to worry about, some players have got to worry about work permits and all those things now that we're out of the EU. It's a lot harder to get players in than it used to be. But if you don't want to be doing much in January unless you've got an opportunity to, in our case, qualify for the Champions League, or you're in a situation where you need to buy to save yourself from relegation. Where we were last season, there are because of the takeover, a lot of clubs trying to take the piss because they knew that we're desperate for players to get us out of the situation, but not realising that our owners, I think they thought our owners, none of them are football people, they just come in, we can pull the wool over their eyes without realising that these guys know what they're doing. They've got a process, they follow it. And we've seen the fruits of their endeavours after surviving relegation from a situation where no one has actually avoided relegation, being no wins in the first 14 games and finishing, was it 11th? Quite comfortably above the drop zone. And there were players who we approached that didn't want to come because they didn't want to be in a relegation battle. Like the guy, what's his name? The guy at Man United who didn't want to come, who went to Everton instead and disappeared.
Van de Beek.
Yeah, Van de Beek. He didn't want to be in a relegation battle and went to Everton and ended up in one.
But, I'm just going to grab into some comments.
Yeah.
Lord Westwood says, Sefton. Leslie says, in my opinion, at least 3. Yeah, definitely. Nate says, I reckon 3 signs as we have a chance to push on and cement the top 4 position. Yeah, absolutely. Leslie says, plus Isak will be like a new signing come January. Yeah, very true, because he hasn't played a lot for us. So, yeah, he will be. Madison says, Sefton, yeah, definitely. Nate says, Koundé, I hope. I would like to have Jules Koundé, but he couldn't move in this transfer window. We'd have to wait till the summer because he's already gone to Barcelona. So we'd have to wait till the summer to try and get him. But I highly rate him. Leslie says, would like to see Madison come on for England just to see what he's like out of a Leicester team. I would, Leslie, but in some ways I don't want him to come on because I think if he comes on, has a great game, Leicester's going to throw the price up. So, uh, and Leslie says, would love Modric, raw but a big talent, yeah. But Eddie Howe would, he'd be like a rough diamond, but Eddie would smooth that out, and he'd be a fantastic player. Modric come out and said he wants to talk to Manchester clubs and decide after a convo the style of football where he'd fit in is more important than club or money. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, hats off to the guy. If that's what he wants to do, do you know what? That's
Yeah.
great because the guy's not thinking of the big lights, big city, money thrown at him. What he's thinking is, right, this is my style of play. Will my style of play suit this team? Yes or no? No. Right, okay, so I'll talk this team. You'd probably suit our style of play very well indeed. Paul says Pavard, yeah, he's a cracking player as Pavard. I like him, yeah.
Is he the French fullback, Pavard?
He is, yeah.
Wasn't he the one that got injured in the French opening game?
Yes, he did, yes,
Well,
yeah.
he's out to the season. He's done his cruise ship.
Has he? Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's him out then.
He's out till the beginning of next year.
Yeah. Good evening, says Ali Coffee to Tony Rowley and all. Good evening to you as well.
Like coffee.
Leslie, yeah, Nate, read he was interested by Newcastle, but Arsenal fans seeing he's already signed for them. Maybe we can do another Bruno on them. Yeah, exactly. Arsenal fans needn't get too carried away. 2-1 Newcastle. Oh, brilliant. So the women are winning.
Yeah. Away the lasses.
Oh, yeah. Knight is hopefully I don't see why not. We're really a good prospect now, and the passion that he talks with could tempt anyone. Absolutely too right. He could. 2 long range goals apparently. Wow, well done. And the way Newcastle players talk about their experience at the club, mate, all good. Yeah, absolutely, Leslie. I totally agree with you on that one. Morocco outplayed Belgium. Wow, wow, wow. Yes, they certainly did, didn't they? That's for sure. But Belgium are an old team now, aren't they? Mighty Max says, I've rattled a few scouts. I said we wouldn't downgrade with Klopp and they didn't like it. Lovely, lovely, love it. And I Coffee says, did Klopp really indicate he was interested in the Newcastle job, or was it just some journalists being muppets? Yeah, he can't get past Eddie Howe. Unfortunately, he's not good enough. And Paul says, was Hernandez who got injured as his brother is playing in his place? I'm not sure. Maybe. But another couple of people I was looking at on the transfer side of things as well, Rowley, and people in the chat as well. And, give me your views on these two that I'm going to put on screen. Because I know we're sort of looking for a right winger as well. Maybe that's just to get cover for Almiron in case anything happens to Almiron, because nobody's taking that place off him at the moment. So first guy I'm going to put on screen now is this one, Christian Pulisic. Now, he had a good game against England. I think he would be a terrific player in the right team. He can play down either flank really, but I mean, that's a player I would like to see if we could get him on loan in January or maybe sign him permanently. I know he's a bit injury prone. I know he's got problems with injuries, but when he's fit, this guy is. I think he's a great player. I think he's brilliant. And he's still only young. I think he's only 23, 24. So, there's more development to come into him yet. Don't forget, he's been around since he was 16 in Europe. So, he's, he seems to have been around a lifetime. But that's one option from Chelsea. And the next player is a Chelsea player, by the way. Or, second option, would you take this guy over Pulisic as maybe cover for Almiron as well? And probably a lot of people are guessing who it is. And here he comes. He's going to come on screen right now. Hakim Ziyech. I thought he had a terrific game today for Morocco. Set that second goal up. I think he's quite a quick winger. The only downside is, yes, we know he's 28, 29. But this guy can play football. And I think he's got no outstanding weaknesses and no outstanding strengths either, but he's 29. He's 30 next March. I think this guy is a good player. I don't think he gets enough credit in the Chelsea team. I think we could snap him up for about 15 million, maybe. I'm not sure. His contract runs out in 2025. So Summer of 25. So I think Chelsea paid about 20 million for this guy. So maybe 20 million you might go him for. I mean, out of those two, Rolly, who would you rather have? And don't
Um,
say both.
no, I'd rather have Pulisic. I think he's a bit more versatile. I think he's a good player. Um, but the biggest problem I have actually with either of them is whether Chelsea will play silly buggers like Man United did because we're a threat to them for their top four place. Are they going to do so? We're not going to sell to Newcastle because they'll take our place, but we're going to take it anyway. But I think I thought Pulisic was decent against England, but then England weren't very good. He's quite skillful. I think he's a decent player, and he would provide competition. And with his age and Eddie and Mad Dog's coaching, he's going to improve. So that would put pressure on Miggy to maintain his standards. I think if he could get the right deal, yeah, I would take him. I think I prefer him over Ziyech more due to his age and what development he's still got to do.
Yeah.
Because Ziyech is pretty much at his peak, so he's got maybe another year or so, maybe 2 years at this level, then he's going to drop off.
Yeah.
But he's a very good player anyway. So, but I think one of the things that we're trying to do is reduce the average age of the squad. So getting someone in 23 reduces it more than if you get someone that's 28, which still does reduce it a bit. But I think the other thing we need to bear in mind talking about transfers is who are we moving on? Because we've got, and I think that will shape transfer business. For example, if we move Lascelles on, we'll need another centre half. Right, it's fourth on the packing order, but Dan Burns playing at left back at the minute. So if we move Lascelles on, I think they might go in for someone like Badia Shield.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Yeah, definitely.
In January. Yeah. If they don't move Lascelles on, they'll wait till the summer. Oh, I don't know if you saw it, but there's an article going out in the Liverpool Echo, which I think is absolutely hilarious. They're saying that we're interested in Musa Keane, who was at Everton a couple of seasons, who's out on loan. And they said at Juventus, and they said the only way that deal can happen is if we unload ASM. And so it's saying that if Juventus let him go, they'll only do it if they can get ASM off us.
Moise Keane, I saw him for Everton when he played, and I don't think he was that great, if I'm honest.
4 goals in 39 games.
I don't think he's Premier League ready. I don't think he's Premier League quality. Yeah, Serie A, totally different side, different league. He can do it in that league, but in terms of the Premier League, I don't think he's up to it. Night and Gaming says, I keep bringing him up, but why not take a chance on Barbosa? Gabigol, as we know him. He's cheap and available straight away. You mean this guy here? Yeah, this guy. Yeah, Gabriel Barbosa. I mean, he's played in it. He went to Milan. He didn't do well, and he went back to Brazil. But if you're going to get him, this is a time to get him. Now, this guy is 26 years of age. He's left-footed. He is a striker, but I'm sure Eddie Howe could get him well up for it. His penalty conversion, he scored 42 out of 47 penalties, so he's got an 89% conversion rate on penalties. Out the 29 games he's played this season, he started 22 of them, and he scored 11, so that's a 1-2 ratio, which is not bad for a striker. And he's got 1 assist. I mean, we've gone to last season's stats, and Gabigol played 18 games, scored 12 goals in 18 games, and 5 assists. Now, he has strengths with long balls, but the only weakness he has is discipline. But saying that, what Brazilian doesn't have problems with discipline apart from Bruno. I mean, Bruno's like a one-off, but you see a lot of Brazilians have problems with discipline. So you know, it's not new there. I mean, this if you go back to 2021 season, 25 games, 22 started, 14 goals, gain 1-2 ratio and 2 assists. This guy can play, and I think you'd get him for about 17 million pounds. If you got him for 17 million, I think that would be a steal. Play him in an FA Cup game. Just say, there you go, do your business. Give Callum Wilson a rest. There you go. Off you go. You're starting today. Who knows? This guy could come in, totally rip up the Premier League and score for fun. And it's £17 million, we could be going, wow, what a bargain. What a bargain, you know? I know we've got, when you think we've got Callum Wilson there, we've got Isak, but you look at it, Callum Wilson's not going to be along much longer, is he? He's going to have another 2 or 3 years maybe, and then, so you've got somebody else there who can step in the breach. Then you've got Isak, who's 22, so you know what? I would say, why not? £17 million, it's a low risk, in my opinion. And I totally agree with Nate.
The only thing I'd say to Knight's comments, because with our owners, taking a chance isn't an option. They don't take chances. They're not going to say, oh, he's cheap. We'll see. They do their homework. They know what they're getting. They don't take chances. They're very careful with how they spend their money. Yeah, I mean, everything you said, Tony, is valid, but I don't think he's even on the radar at all, because they have their process, they have their plan, and they'll stick to it. For looking for the future, that's one of the reasons I've got Isak. And if they're bringing in another striker, it's going to be someone in that sort of mould that's young, hungry, and with a lot of ability. I think if we could have got him last January, they might have done it then, but they had the option and they didn't. So I don't think that that we'll sign him. I think we're looking for a different type of player, a different age profile. It may be that they didn't go for him because of his discipline. It could be his personality, because they look into all that. Because you look at the players that we have bought, they fitted into the squad seamlessly. And when they played, they looked like they've been at the club for years. You look at this season signings, look at Pope, you look at Botman, the two examples. You'd have thought that they'd been playing at the club for years. Obviously, we've got Pope, Target was already here on loan. And then Isak, when he played, you'd have thought they'd been playing with everyone for ages. And again, last season, Trippier, Byrne, Target, even Chris Wood, they all look like they've been at the club for ages. There's no sort of trying to fit in. They do their homework.
But also with Barbosa, I mean, West Ham literally took the payout of that club over Brazil, so that's why they didn't get him, because West Ham wanted him on an 18-month loan, so when his contract ran out, they could sign him free. I mean, they were never going to do that. That is just ridiculous. But if we went in January and said, right, can we take him on a 6-month loan? He's only got a year left on his deal. It runs out New Year's Eve next year. If we, sorry, is it next year? 2024. Sorry. So he's got a couple of years on his deal. So yeah, if we said to them, look, we'll take him on a 6-month loan in January with a view to a permanent move, they may say, yes, we agree to that. We give them an upfront fee of $5 million for the loan, and we take him on loan for the season. Now, if he doesn't hit it in that time and he doesn't be a success, you can say, right, okay, we send you back. Thank you for coming over. Thank you for being here. But then you've looked at him and you can see he's not cut for the Premier League. But then you might get him and you'll have a fee in place agreed with the club, so they can't change the fee.
Yeah. With an option to buy
6 months. But that 6 months, he could hit the ground running. He could score a bag full. He could go and bang, say, 10, 11 goals in that 6 months he's here. And then you think, hang on a minute, wow, what a bargain this guy's going to be. Yeah. And you sign him up. But you've got to give players a chance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think again, an option to buy, loan with an option to buy may be on the cards. But again, it's last January when we're desperate for strikers, we didn't go in for him. So it makes you think that they don't fancy him for one reason or another.
Because it's one to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying they'll never go in. Maybe they decide that they've had an extra 6 months or so to do research on him, well, an extra year to do research on him, and they may decide as well, if we can get to him on a loan with an option to buy, it would have to be an option rather than an obligation. It might be something they'd look into, but I just get the feeling that they've looked at him and don't fancy him for one reason or another.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul says, no, I'd rather have him who plays for Morocco. And I Like Coffee says, CH. Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. He says, and I keep getting confused between Pulisic and Perisic. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Pulisic brings in USA shirt sales and fan base would prefer a loan deal, if anything. Yeah, I mean, why not go and try? Paul says, who's that youth coach we just signed from City? I know who you mean, but I can't think of his name at the moment.
Yeah, it's the youth. He's one of their youth scouts. And you look at the scout. Well, I think he was at Leeds. We got him from Leeds, but he was at Manchester City. But you look at their youth setup; it is first class. And Southampton have got half of their youth players starting for them. The ones that won't actually make it into their first team, but it brought Foden, got Foden through. It's top class, and we want to be the best, so we need to be the best all through the club. That's why we're hiring in every department. Because we were basically a bare bones operation under he who shall not be named.
Sefton says, my apologies, I'm up the ladder with my earphones on, putting Christmas lights up on the roof, so don't shout and scare me. Bang! It's getting a bit dark now for being on the roof, isn't it?
Sefton, it's not December yet.
Nate says, I'll try for Jeremy Pino as cover for right side. Yeah, not a bad shout. We need some cover for Trippier if anything happens to him. Mighty Mac, couple of new youths from South America, some kid called Maximo Peron and Andre Santos. No idea what they are like. Yeah, I mean, Peron, he's come over, his agent is coming over, and apparently the director of the club, who is obviously our ex-player, Christian Basidas, obviously is thinking of us as well and says he's the next big talent, isn't he? Andre Santos. It's gone a bit quiet on Andre Santos, but who knows? You know, he may just well come in. Guys, please smash those likes. It really does help my channel. Thank you very much.
Just a quick one. Yeah. Just a quick one. Canada are 1-0 up in the second minute against Croatia.
Jonathan David, is it?
No, it's the guy that missed the penalty.
Alfonso Davies.
Yeah, number 19. Yeah, wow. Just a great header. The second minute of the game.
There you go.
The World Cup keeps on giving.
Hey, Canada could make the second round. Who knows? Yeah. If they'd done better against Belgium, who knows? Peron's agent is meant to be in Newcastle. That's what make of that. What you look for, he looks canny. Yeah, I don't know a lot about him, but yeah.
He's meant to be quite good as a young prospect. He's meant to be really quite good. I think is he like 18 or 19, something like that. He's really young.
Josko Gvardiel, a defender who can play centre and left back. Yeah, I mean that's a good shout as well. You know,
it's another guy. A guy for cover for trips that's starting to bubble up again is Ashby Harrison, who from West Ham, who we tried to get on transfer deadline day, but apparently he's not signed. He's been offered a new contract at West Ham and has refused to sign it. Yeah. So that's a possibility.
I mean, I mean, if we want cover for left back or whatever, or we want to bring a new left back in, I don't know, whichever way we're doing it. I mean, this guy can play. He's a good player, and he plays for Stuttgart. Bruno Sousa.
Yeah.
So he Bruno Sousa. So he plays for Croatia. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if he's in the Croatian team today or not
Yes,
because
he
I
is.
ain't got the TV. And he is. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not a bad left back at all. He's pretty good. Probably cost you about 25, 30 million pound. Maybe another option for Newcastle Explore, maybe. So who knows? But back to the comments. We shall go. I just thought I'd throw that one in the mix as well, in case anybody's asking. Turan for striker, he's free on the summer with Pavard. I mean, the thing is, with I've mentioned him last week as well on the show, and I've done a breakfast show as well. Marcus Thuram. Well, our owners are actually looking at him in January, so maybe we could tempt them to sell him for about 10 million in January because he's going to be out of contract in June. So it'll be like Mönchengladbach may think, do we cash in now? Or do we say, oh no, we want to keep him till the summer, but then he goes free? But even in January, if we don't get him, we can sign him on a pre-contract agreement so we can bring him in the summer free anyway. He's got 10 goals in 15 games this season for Mönchengladbach. His dad was in the stands yesterday watching France as well. Lilian Thuram, what a terrific centre-back he was as well. But yeah, I mean, this guy I would take any day of the week. Yeah, absolutely. So we watch the space and we see what happens in January with that one as well. So yeah, that sounds all good. I'm just going to go through some of these comments before we go to the next subject. Mighty Max says, one of the club's directors and the one and only Kristen Basidas. Yeah, exactly. Ches says, many mercurial talents have problems with discipline. It seems to be a package deal, but all they need is a right example around them. And our dressing room is filled with leaders right now. Yeah, absolutely. Indeed, Ches, well said. He says, yeah, thanks, mate. Hope you're well. Chris says, Newcastle consider age, ability, and attitude very carefully now before making a new signing. Yet we don't just jump in. All good. Same to you, says Leslie, talking to Ches. Canada belted out the national anthem. Love to see that, says Leslie. Brilliant. It's what I like to see. NU Women's FC are in the third round of the Vitality FA Cup.
Right,
Thanks very much. I like coffee. Well done, Newcastle United women.
Does anyone know what the gate was?
I'm not sure, but it was probably in excess of 25,000, I reckon.
Yeah, they said they'd done 25,000, but we don't know how many. It'd be interesting if anyone in the chat knows what the actual attendance was.
Yeah, I mean, they were doing cash turnstiles today, so there may be more turned up. Great to hear. I like coffee. He who shall not be named, I keep thinking the Shelby. Paul says, it's Paul Midgley, that's him, head of youth recruitment. Ah, yes, Paul Midgley, that's the one, yeah. Canada 1-0. Nate says, amazing the whole club doing well. Who would have thought that we would be in this position 5 years ago? Well, I'll tell you what, Nate, certainly not me, that's for sure. I'd have been wondering if we were still in the Premier League, never mind third in the Premier League. Gary says, good evening, good afternoon, Gary. Hope you're well, mate. Nice to join us. Gary says, James Maddison has to be on the winter shopping list, lads. I think he's top of the list, if I'm honest, Gary. I don't know if you heard, but there's rumours going around in various news outlets that PIF want to spend big in January because they want to seize the opportunity of where we are now and they want to capitalise on that and keep us up there. So it wouldn't surprise me. And for anybody who thinks about financial fair play and start getting any panic and saying, oh, well, yeah, but we've got to be careful. Look, the owners of the club will have had their solicitors looking through everything, their lawyers have looked through everything to see what's legal and what they can and can't do. And they themselves know how much they can spend. So we go with what the owners know. They will know how much money they're allowed to spend technically. So watch this space, I see on that one.
Not just
this
that,
is a World Cup of upsets, and I love it. Says I like coffee. Yep.
Not just that on the financial fair play. All these deals we're signing, Dr. Cynic, we've got sportsbreak.com, Saudia, Monster, that's all increasing the revenue. which makes financial fair play less of a problem. And then obviously we still haven't changed the front of shirt sponsor, which when we do, be a big one.
Yeah, well, we can't change that until next season now.
Yeah.
But the front of shirt sponsor, you've got it. If you want to have your name on the front of the shirt, it'll cost you £22.5 million a year, according to PIF. The sleeve sponsor costs more than the current front of shirt sponsor at the moment. The sleeve sponsor is 7.5.
Apparently, the Monster deal's quite a big one as well for 5. I think.
Yeah,
what is 60 million over 5 years or something like that, which is 12 million. So you're looking at that, and you're covering the cost of. I mean, like the Noon sponsorship, the length and the amount covers Sven Botman.
Alan says, I thought Morocco Magic today fully deserved the win. I bet Southgate wasn't watching it. He'll see you can't play like that because you need 10 men in your own half. I'll tell you what, Morocco were terrific today, and well done to Morocco. I think England have got to play it brave on Wednesday. But as I say, they've got to play it brave, and they've got to play with a bit of. They've got to come out better than they were on Friday, that's for sure. If we don't see an improvement on Tuesday, then I'm sorry, we don't deserve to go very much further in the World Cup. But if we do see a massive improvement, because I think Wales might drop a couple of players just to rest them. I think Bale might not even play, to be fair. That's what they're hinting at. Bale and Ramsey being rested because they're tired. That's what Rob Page is saying about his team. His team's very tired. So maybe let's hope England go out there, do the business, just do a professional job, just beat Wales, get through the group, send Wales home, let them go and have a bit of rest before they go back to their clubs. But we'll talk more of that later because, like I say, guys, 9:30 tonight, there is a special live show tonight, and that's going to be on every night during the World Cup. So 9:30 every night. When possible, I can do it as well. I will be doing a World Cup roundup, so tune in for that tonight at 9:30. Paul says was over 28,000 there. Just over 28,000, says Leslie as well. So that's your answer to that question. Oh, Mighty Max got the actual attendance. 28,565. Absolutely fantastic. Well done. And it's actually a record attendance for outside of a final for the women as well. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Now that's precision, says Leslie to Mighty Mag. Paul says, did anyone see the interview with the Saudi sportsminister saying that PIF are just getting started, a lot more is to come as they want the best? I haven't actually seen it, no, but
I've only seen clips.
I can quite believe that's what they want. I mean, yeah, absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen on Twitter, I mean, I've retweeted it as well, but Amanda Staveley went in the dressing room and gave a speech to the women's team. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. Absolutely fantastic. Just shows you how much our owners are in tune with this football club. It really does. So for anybody outside the club to say that our owners aren't great, they don't know what they're talking about, in my eyes.
In all aspects of the club, they're superb. All aspects. They want to promote not just the first team, the women's team, all the youth teams, and then they've got the investment they've got in the infrastructure, the training ground, doing up St James's Park, how they're looking to expand the capacity where we are, engaging with the community. They're dream owners. Yeah, I mean, they've got a few quid as well helps, but they're doing everything. They're basically doing everything that the previous owner wouldn't do.
Yeah. So we've got another couple of topics to go through before we wrap up today, but I'll just put this little ad break in. There we go. If you like what you see, then please hit the like button as it makes the channel more visible in the search. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as it helps the channel grow and it's free to do. Finally, hit the bell button. That will notify you when I'm live or put a pre-recorded video on and any upcoming shows. Thank you very much. Right, guys, like I say, that just helps me seeing it through the show, and sometimes you get tongue twisted trying to say it, so it's easier if I just do a pre-recorded video and then just put it on, and then makes it easier. Maybe some people might say it's been a bit lazy, but nah, not really. Paul says they've changed the tunnels to for the lasses too. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that's superb.
Leslie says the owners are invested at every level, hook, line, and sinker. Absolutely. Anybody know what the score is for the two lasses? As far as we know, Gary, I think they must have won 2-1 and they've gone through the next round after beating Barnsley. So there you go, mate. There's 2-0 through to the next round. They have changed the tunnel entrance. Yeah, that's what Paul says as well. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Right, the next topic. Well, this one is a bit of a controversial topic, to be fair. Although it shouldn't be a controversial topic, but I'm going to put it on there anyway. We won't talk too much into this topic, but we will basically come out. So I'll start this topic off and then I'll come out with my views on it and then I'll get Rolly's views and then get everybody's views in the comments as well. I'll just go to this comment before I do. Alan McTeer, good afternoon to you, Alan. Tony, the Saudi Arabian Footy Federation are talking to Ronaldo over a 3-year contract worth in excess of £186 million. That is unbelievable. What do you lads think? It's a hell of a lot of money. He's linked with a club in Saudi anyway, isn't he? So, and on that, this is the next topic. Should we sign Ronaldo? Right. Okay. So I'll give you my views first, and I'll get Rolly's views, and I want everybody in the chat to get involved in this as well. Okay, Cristiano Ronaldo is 37 years old now. He scored in his 5th World Cup. Yes, back 10 years ago, fantastic player. I would have said no problem having him 10 years ago. Would I want him now? Personally, I don't want him anywhere near this football club because I'll tell you why. The guy is just got too much of an ego. The football we play, the pressing and intensity, he couldn't get anywhere near that. He wouldn't even do it. The guy's lazy at times. He all thinks about himself. He thinks he's bigger than any football club around the world. Well, I'm sorry, Cristiano, you're not bigger than our football club. That's for sure. So you are certainly not coming to our club. Bruno Guimaraes has come out and said that he does not want Ronaldo near our football club either. So for Bruno to say that, that just shows you how much Bruno doesn't want him near the club. Also, it is being suggested that we are not going to go anywhere near Ronaldo. Thank God for that, if that is the truth, please, because this guy, one, wouldn't get into our team anyway, and two, you want people who don't upset the dressing room, and this guy would upset the dressing room in my eyes. So I'm putting an appeal out there. Do not sign Cristiano Ronaldo under any circumstances. Let him go elsewhere. I'd rather he went back to Sporting Lisbon and finished his career there. Or better still, after the World Cup, hang your boots up and say, do you know what? I've had a great career and go into coaching or something, because this guy, I'm sorry, is finished in my opinion. In the Premier League, definitely anyway, and I don't want him anywhere near this football club. And I would be mightily paid off if he comes to Newcastle United, because I will say that is a big mistake. Please, please, please do not sign Cristiano Ronaldo. I really can't stand the guy. Before I come to Rolly, I'll quickly go into some comments because we've got quite a few rattling in now. So I'll quickly get onto there, and then we can. So Chris says 2 lasses 1-3-1, excellent. Ali Coffee says Morocco keeper Bono warmed up, sang anthem, shook hands, then disappeared before kickoff. No, he wasn't the Irish singer. U2. Strange. Ronaldo toxic, says Mighty Mag. No, he's too disruptive, says Nate. Paul says, not today's Ronaldo, wrong attitude of me and won't suit our style of play. Exactly. Gary says, as Simon Cowell would say, it's a no from me. Jess says, Howe has already said that we have an aging squad and that we're trying to look to the future of our squad, so these Ronaldo Romas need to go. The sooner the better, really. Leslie says Ronaldo would cost too much, not financially, but in terms of team ethic and balance. Yeah, he could upset the whole club, and it's not what we want, really. Morocco are not keen on Bono, but they still found what they're looking for. Oh, do you know what, Chris? because of that comment, because that is an absolutely fantastic comment, that is getting a star, mate. Okay, so that is starred. Mighty Max says, I don't even think Ronaldo is even on the list. I don't think he is, if I'm honest. Leslie laughing at Chris. Alan says, well said, Tony. I have nothing to add apart from the word toxic. Yeah, absolutely. Sefton says, thanks for that. It's nice fell off the roof when you said, should we sign Ronaldo? I'm down safe now, but well done to all lasses and what in attendance. Yeah, don't fall off the roof, for God's sake, Sefton. Bloody hell. Jesus. We don't want to see you on the latest episode of Casualty, do we? LA Coffee says no. And Ches says, Ronaldo's $500,000 wages means those who have in their contract they need to be the highest earners will ruin our wage structure and the dressing room spirit. Yeah, absolutely, Ches. No to Ronaldo, says I like coffee, and he goes, no, 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 no. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right, Rolly. Ronaldo, give me your take.
If Man United don't want him, why should we? It's simple. It's simple. And in the words of Amy Winehouse, they tried to get us to sign Ronaldo. We said no, no, no.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah. So I think that's put that one to bed quickly, hasn't it? It's a no, isn't it, for Ronaldo?
The guy can still play. He's still one of the better players in the league, but it's the baggage that he brings with him. The disruption that he caused with the ego. You don't want him throwing his toys out the pram if he doesn't get selected or subbed or whatever. But I think that, was it Chaz who said that his £500,000 wages would wreck our wage structure? Yeah. And I think that's the biggest reason why we won't sign him. Because the moment you do that, you're looking at likes of Bruno, you're looking at likes of Isak, ASM and others who are up for new contracts are going to want to be paid on a similar level. And that knackers the financial fair play because we've got to get even more money coming in to be able to cover the wages because wages are included in financial fair play. So, no, it's a non-starter for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we've quite come down to that now that we do not want Cristiano Ronaldo anywhere near our football club. Cheston also says, Man, you don't want him. Why should we, Rolly? Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Well said, mate. There you go. And Ali Coffee said, someone said yesterday we already had Ronaldo Aarons. Yeah, and he didn't. He was supposed to be the next. Yeah, he just went downhill really quick, didn't he? And he seemed to be a great player, but he just didn't seem to fulfill his potential.
Yeah, shame that happens.
Sefton says 100% from me. Don't want him.
You missed one, though, Tony.
Yeah. Paul says, Neymar, another player we've been linked with. I wouldn't want him at the club also. No, he comes with baggage as well. Leslie says, Ronaldo said he wanted Arsenal to win the league. Let him go there and ruin their club. Paul says, no, it was Rolando, not Ronaldo Aarons. Yeah, that's right. It was Rolando Aarons as well, wasn't it? I mean, yeah, I don't want him anywhere near the club, to be fair. No. So, yeah, so guys, we're going to...
That being said, if for some reason they do decide to sign him, we'll have my full support. Don't want him, but if we do sign him, we'll have my full support for the time he's here.
Yeah, but,
But I don't want us to sign him.
let's hope that's not the case. But yeah, I mean, we don't want him at the club, do we? Really? So we just get rid of him, and we just don't want him coming at all.
Yeah.
So let's see on that one anyway. Okay. But yeah, guys, please hit those likes. Really, really great. Thank you very much, and the subscribes as well. Absolutely fantastic. Right, so next topic now, which is going to be an interesting one. This one because I've saved the best to last anyway. So there's the guy on screen now. Okay. And here is the topic. Can Eddie Howe become an elite manager? Right, I'll start this one off then. Eddie Howe, since he's came to the club, bearing in mind he's only been here just over 12 months now. What a job this guy has done. Not only that we hadn't won in the first 14 games, but he kept us in the Premier League. But he didn't just keep us in the Premier League by the skin of our teeth or by a point or two. We finished 11th place and about 8 points off a European place. So that shows you the job this guy did last season for us. And then he's had a full pre-season and we've brought players into the club. And what he's done to the team so far this season, we are sitting third in the Premier League. This is a manager that a lot of fans laughed at us when we took Eddie Howe on last November. They all laughed. Your Aston Villas, your Liverpools, your Tottenhams, your Norwiches, your Brentfords. They all laughed. They all took the piss, basically, and said, Eddie Howe? There's only one way in Newcastle's going, that's down. Well, we proved you all wrong. And Eddie Howe. Then we have to goodbye to Dean Smith after his Norwich team went down. And this season, he gave a special wave to Mr. Steven Gerrard to say, oh, bye-bye, Gerrard, I've seen you off too as well, mate. So, because when we sacked Bruce, all of a sudden Norwich sacked their manager and Villa sacked their manager because they were frightened, because they knew we were looking to get a manager in. Now, we could have had Dick Emery, Unai Emery, but you may as well call him Dick Emery. But anyway, but yeah, we could have had Emery. Thankfully, he turned the job down because where we are now, I don't think we would have possibly been there with Emery. Maybe we might have, I don't know. I might be wrong. But this guy on the screen, to me, is a great manager now. When he lost his job at Bournemouth, he went abroad, learned his trade more. He didn't just sit on his backside, sit on a couch, thinking, all right, I'm just going to sit here and watch films, watch TV or watch football matches. He said, no, I'm going to get out there because I want to learn more. I want to know how I can become a better manager than what I am now. And that was when he left Bournemouth. So then he went to see Sarri in Juventus and stood on the training pitch with him and learnt a lot there. He then went to see Diego Simeone at Atletico Madrid, learnt a lot from Simeone, especially the word shithousery as well, because Simeone's very good at that. Then he went and saw Klopp, learnt a lot from Jurgen Klopp as well. This guy, in my opinion, can become the elite manager, and he could be our elite manager for the next 10 years. As long as we are doing well, Eddie Howe's going nowhere from this club. And even if Southgate walks away from England, there is no way the FA are coming anywhere near Eddie Howe, because I think as soon as he sees him on his ring doorbell, he'll just tell him, I'm going nowhere. So, and he's already said he's not interested in the England job. But I think once Eddie Howe starts doing well and we start doing well under Eddie Howe, winning trophies, and that's what I mean by doing well as in winning trophies, I think there's going to be a few clubs in the Premier League thinking, shit, we've missed a trick here. We should have had him. Because people said he bottled it when he turned down Celtic. But the reason he turned Celtic down was because July last year, when Ashley was still owner of the football club, Lee Charnley had a chat with him about maybe if they got rid of Bruce, would he come in the job? So he was maybe thinking I might go for that, but it didn't materialise. And but when Cabbage Head went, he came in. I think this guy's done an absolute terrific job, and he deserves all the credit he gets. He's manager of the month. If he's not manager of the season at the end of the season, how well we've done, then I'm sorry, that vote's rigged somewhere, because this man should have been manager of the season last year, if I'm honest, and a lot of pundits said that, and Klopp got it. And why the hell did Klopp get manager of the year last season? Because he won the trophy, because he won a League Cup on a penalty shootout. It just doesn't, but it just winds me up. But Eddie Howe, I think, can become the elite manager. before I come to Rolly, I'll go into some comments because I've got quite a few rattling through here, and then I'll come to Rolly and I'll get his say on that. So let's go. Right. So Mighty Mag says, "Would you be happy if Ronaldo went to the Macums?" yes, just to disrupt them. But I don't. I think the only way the Macums will get Ronaldo is in the cardboard cutout. Paul says, "I can't see any top clubs wanting him. That's why he didn't move in the summer." Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Nate says Eddie Howe already is elite manager. Yeah, he is. He's doing really, really great things with us. Therefore, he is going to be shining in the Champions League with us. He deserves it. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The owners could have said at the start of the season, "Oh, we're going to get a new manager in. We're going to let Eddie Howe go. He's done his job. He's kept us in the league." But no, they went and gave him a new contract. And the best thing they did was announce that. And if you notice the timing of it, announcing a new contract to Eddie Howe the day before the season kicked off. Now that then tells the players in that club, this manager's here for the long term. This club just is not going to just get rid of a manager and bring another one in. So that shows you the commitment of the club. And when a player sees that the manager's there longer and has got a long-term deal, that makes the players feel more secure as well about their futures and about themselves, because they think, at least now, the club's on a steady path because we know who the manager is for the next few seasons, barring anything that really went wrong, but I don't think it will. But that's what the players look at and they think, right, so we've got this manager. And you always hear Bruno talking up Eddie Howe. Bruno absolutely loves Eddie Howe. And he probably didn't even have a clue who Eddie Howe was, to be fair, before he signed for the club. You know, he's probably Sven Botman didn't know who Eddie was before he signed for the club. Paul says, yeah, the other so-called elite managers have only worked at the clubs already at the top. Eddie's taken us to the top. Yeah, I mean, Klopp started from the bottom. Ches says, simply he's already competing with elite managers and with less depth, and that will become used to be called championship players. Yes, he will become the elite manager, and very soon, absolutely. LA Coffee, Mr. Teeth can take Ronaldo. Talking about Jurgen Klopp. Yes, absolutely. Nate says he's already the best coach in the league. Yes, absolutely, by a mile. Laughing at Coffee. Coffee says they both visit the same dentist. I think it's Simon Cowell's dentist, isn't it? Because he's another Mr. Teeth, isn't he? Gary says, yes, he could be the next Alex Ferguson, winning everything for Newcastle, lads. Yeah, absolutely. When you think Ferguson was one game from the sack. Paul says, I think we can win the League Cup this year with the teams left in and how good our home form is if we get home ties. Yeah, I mean, I did say at the start of the season, my prediction for Newcastle for this season before a ball was kicked, by the way. And I said, and if you want to check it out, And it was when I was on with John Sinclair, so you'll find that no problem, and you'll see my prediction in there. I said we would win the Carabao Cup, finish 7th, and get the semi-finals of the FA Cup. That was my predictions at the start. So I should have probably put a bet on it, shouldn't I? But I probably would have lost on the 7th place because I think we're going to finish higher than that. LA Coffee says Eddie's already an elite manager. Yeah, he is. Sefton says, whoa, Eddie's statue outside the Gallagher would look brilliant, won't it? Yeah, exactly. Join the greats of Joe Harvey, wouldn't he? Nate says he went and spoke to loads of people, including boxers and other sports people. Yeah, he went to Lords. Joseph says, send me the link. It's just a normal show, mate. It's not a fans forum. Ches says, to be fair, Arteta is also on for a very good shout at manager of the season if he wins. Yeah, if they win the league, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, he's done well for Arsenal, considering the fans wanted him out at the start of the season. Leslie says, I thought he turned down Celtic because he couldn't accommodate his choice of backroom staff for whatever the reason. I'm forever grateful. Yeah, I think it was that as well, if I remember. Yeah, that rings a bell now. Mighty Mag says, Alan, Ronaldo would be at least 60 before he went to the land of the unwashed. Yeah, absolutely. Ches likes my thing when I said cardboard cutout. Yeah. 30 watching, 13 likes. Thank you all. Yeah, I've got 15 watching now. So those extra two, please hit that like button, please. Thank you very much. Boss on this channel is going places. Thanks very much, Sefton. Yeah, the only way is up as far as I'm concerned with this channel. And yeah, I'm here to make a success of it. And I believe that will happen one day. Mighty Max says, I honestly can see Eddie walking us out in the major final with us. Yeah, well, that might be February when the Carabao Cup's on. So who knows? Knight says, if you watch interview, Eddie did state that his main concern was improving the players, not for himself. As he said, if the players improve, the results will follow. He comes across a nice person. Yes, he does, absolutely. And I like he's got a little bit of swagger about him now as well, which I like as well. That bit of Jose Mourinho, when he was younger. But yeah, Eddie Howe's doing really well. So Rowley, okay.
A lot of people have stolen
give me
my
your
thunder.
thoughts.
I was going to say that the question was wrong. It shouldn't be, can Eddie Howe become an elite manager? Is Eddie Howe an elite manager? I think he is. He's tactically astute. He's a great inspiration motivator. He's a great trainer of players. He does, some of the things that he does when they're bringing players in, sits them down and tells them why they wanted to sign him. We love you because of this, that, and the other. Then he's got the players to tell personal stories about their journey as well as giving his. So that really builds the bond within the team. It's a great man manager, builds such camaraderie within the team that you're going to want to sort of like die for the guy. When we signed in there, I think it was Simon Jordan, who I'm not a big fan of him, but he does actually say talk some sense and owns it when he's wrong. He said that Eddie Howe's teams can't defend. A couple of weeks ago, he said, well, I was wrong on that. Where did that come from? It's because he's a student of the game. He studied, and he studied all the best coaches, all the best techniques in different sports, and he's put it to practice at Newcastle. When we still had the Cabbage as the manager, not last season before, we went through that horrible run where we got something like 3 points out of a possible 22. Eddie was the guy that I wanted to replace him then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure everyone's a little bit disappointed when Emery said no, but when they brought in Eddie, I thought, yeah, well, I actually wanted him in the first place before the takeover, so why not now? Because he plays good football. I'm sure he could do a job for us, and he's done more. I think he's exceeded everyone's expectations, and I think he's exceeded them as much as the team has exceeded our expectations this season. We're way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I had a few Newcastle fans last season shooting me down a bit, and I thought, and this is the bad part of our fan base, because some of them are just so they like to lambaste you on anything that you put on, and I ended up actually taking my comment off. It was on Facebook, and I ended up taking the comment off because, to be honest with you, the negativity from them, the way they were, the way they went on, and I just thought, you know what, I can't be bothered with this. So I just deleted my comment. I thought, I can't be arsed with it. And basically, what I said was, because we were doing so well, I said, can you imagine? It was like the end of the season when we were finishing 11th, and I said, can you imagine where we would have been had we had Eddie Howe from the start of the season? And then fans were saying, oh, stupid comment. What a comment to make. You would have stopped the sale of the club then, because Ashley wouldn't have sold the club and he would have kept it. And I was like, and I said, no, he wouldn't have. I said, it's because he would have had to sell it because there was an agreement in place to sell the club. It would have just meant the club would have been in a better place by the time the owners came in, and probably wouldn't have been sitting bottom when we were playing Tottenham Hotspur in that first game.
And the
And
players would have been
just
fit.
all the comments I was getting, they were just like horrible comments, like, "Oh yeah, that's it." Just um, Eddie Howe the club wouldn't have been sold, and all that's all I kept saying. The club wouldn't have been sold, and typical of a fan like you to come on and I just said no. And I just thought, you know what, I can't be arsed with it, so I just deleted the
Some
comment.
people are never happy. They're
No,
only happy if they're moaning about what somebody said.
yeah, I mean, Leslie says his belief in the squad allows them to believe in themselves. Plus, he's committed to his own professional development. Yeah, absolutely. Foxy says he's a very good manager. We throw around the word legend and elite far too much. To be elite, you need to have an elite level achievements and constantly, not just 12 months. Yeah, I totally agree, Foxy. That's why I'm saying, can he become an elite manager? That's what I'm saying. I think he can become an elite manager, but we'll only know that once the trophies start coming through the door. Leslie says 1-1, Canada, Croatia. I like coffee. Mitchy Batchway had a panda painted on his fingernail. Yes, I saw that as well. Yeah, that was weird. That wasn't it. Yeah, I was thinking nail art. Okay, fair enough.
Each to their own.
Foxy says Croatia are finishing the half strong. Mighty Mag says owners must be scratching their heads in a good way. Didn't expect to be where we are now. No, absolutely not. They probably didn't think we would have been up there. Agree. Being Pepper in the Canadian box. Ches says Rolly does that boogie night white leather couch come with a red light and a chandelier. Oh, nice one, Ches. I don't know if he's got a red light there, but I don't really want to know. No, he hasn't got one of them. No,
not yet.
Not yet.
I ordered one on Amazon
with a chandelier. Alan McTeer says Eddie's a very intellectual guy. He never slags anyone off, unlike the scone cutter and others who blame everyone else but themselves. I've done the same thing, Tony. You do get the thick tool or two. Yeah, absolutely, Alan. And, sometimes it's just not worth it because you can't, it's an argument you're not going to win because people are just going to always talk you down. And it really does boil my pee, to be fair with you. I mean, there's just no need for it whatsoever. I mean, so guys, we're coming to the end of the show now. I think it's been a very good show. We've had lots of topics to talk about, that's for sure. And it's been nice to have a break from the World Cup and bring something different and talk all things Newcastle United. Because obviously there's not a lot to talk about during this break, but we've managed to bring some topics up, which has been absolutely fantastic. Fantastic to have Rolly on again. Rolly, can you tell people where they can find you, please?
Yeah, I'm at Poles67 on Twitter.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for that. But yeah, I mean, it's just been nice to have a break from something different, and just doing something different. And if you like what you see, then please hit the like button as it makes the channel more visible in the search. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as it helps the channel grow and it's free to do. Finally, hit the bell button. That will notify you when I'm live or put a pre-recorded video on and any upcoming shows. Thank you very much. Yeah, so guys, don't forget to hit the likes and the subscribes, please. It really does help the channel grow. Thank you very much. I just thought it's easier to put a pre-recorded video on because then it saves me having to keep saying it. And sometimes you get tongue twisted when you're saying it as well. So, so you can find me on this channel. It's all Black and White TV. And also, you can find me on Twitter at TonyTony31. Follow me and I'll follow you back. Upcoming shows we've got. So tonight at 9:30 p.m. I will be back with the World Cup roundup. So tune in for that. I'll round up all of today's games and look ahead to what's coming up in the World Cup tomorrow as well. So I will be doing that, and that will be the same again tomorrow. And I'll probably also have a preview, a match preview towards the game against Wales on Tuesday. I'm just waiting now for the journalist Andrew Musgrove to get back to me. We've come up with a date. I've come up with a date and time, so I'm hoping once he comes back, he's checked his diary, it's all sorted, and then I'll get Andrew on my show and on my channel. And what we'll do is we'll have a talk to Andrew, who's from the Evening Chronicle, and we'll ask him his thoughts on how the season's gone so far up until the World Cup break. So that'll bring something different. And also, when he does come on, anybody who's got questions in the chat as well for Andrew Musgrove, put them in there, and Andrew will answer them as much as he can for you. So that should be terrific when he comes on. But I will put out there will be a thing put out for that when he does confirm the date and time with me as well. Andrew's a really nice guy, good journalist, and so I look forward to having Andrew on the show as well and on the channel. So I'll just go through some comments before we wrap up. Leslie says, off topic, still don't know why there are no drink breaks at the World Cup. Well, the one this morning, I watched Japan and I thought Japan were wasteful this morning. They should have beat Costa Rica, in all honesty.
It's 2-1 Croatia.
Michael Oliver could have had drinks breaks if he wanted, but he carried on. So I don't think they were really bothering about a drinks break. I think the game just wanted to flow.
I think the other thing
Michael
is
Oliver had a great game this morning, and tomorrow, the Ghana game, Anthony Taylor's refereeing that one.
I think the thing with the drinks breaks is that the stadiums are air conditioned, and apparently the playing temperature isn't that bad.
Yeah, but the one they were playing at this morning isn't air conditioned.
Okay.
It's the same stadium England's playing at on Tuesday night, but obviously by the time they play at 10 o'clock at night, it's going to be cooled down anyway. Yeah. Mighty Max says, it's been another great show. That's to all. Thank you very much, Mighty Max. Chris says, great show. Tony Rowley's an excellent guest. Thank you very much, Chris. Cheers,
thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Alan says, been interesting, Tony and Rowley. Cheers, lads. Cheers, Alan. Thank you very much, mate. Leslie says, thanks all. Yeah, thank you. 2-1 Croatia, yeah. I like coffee. Bye, Tony Rowley and all. Bye-bye, I like coffee. Hope you're joining at 9:30 tonight. Hope to see a lot of you back in the chat. And Chess says, take care all. Yeah, you too, mate, as well. Thank you very much. And we've got another one in there. Chess says, agreed. Get Rowley back in again. Yeah, absolutely. Rowley will be back again. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
He'll be back again. Don't panic. And yeah. But Mighty Mag says, I'll try and catch it tonight, Tony. Been brilliant, Rowley. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mighty Mag.
Leslie says, all right, thanks, Rowley. And great show, lad, says Gary as well. Thank you very much. Thank you for everybody for your support. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. And thank you, Gary, as well. I mean, for putting that tweet out today as well. Much appreciated, mate. But guys, yeah, so like I say, we're at the end of the show now, and all it leaves me to say is enjoy your evening, enjoy your dinner, tea, whatever you're going to have to eat, and hope to see a lot of you. If I don't see a lot of you at 9:30, enjoy the rest of the evening, and adios till tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everyone.